And one. Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of ArmTalk. I'm your host, Jody Williams, fresh off the IFA World Championships in Orlando, Florida. And my guest right now, who took second, I believe both hands, at the IFA World Championships. My guest is Karl Stanley, Mr. Reigning King of Florida, Karl Stanley. Karl, how you doing today?
What's up, Jody? I'm doing great. How you doing?
You know, I'm doing pretty good. And first things first, congratulations on your performance down there. Trust me when I say this. I mean, you want to take first place. You know, I was there knocking at the door. You were there knocking at the door. I don't know about you, but for me, when you lose to a guy like that guy from Brazil, Andre, I can't pronounce his last name, but when you lose to a guy like that, you know, you tend to kind of go, okay, it's back to the drawing board. I felt he was overpowering me. I couldn't wait to get back home and just start training again. Take us back to your experience and what you thought took place was going through your mind when you took second both hands.
Man, it honestly, Jody, it's just an honor to be at an event of that nature. You know, I've been competing for 16 years now. I started back when I was 17 in 2005, and I've been a part of some pretty good events. WAL when it first started, even some great local events back in the day with Florida States and guys like Todd King and Jesse Gonzalez just throw some big events. But just to be a part of the Worlds and just, you know, seeing different countries and, you know, the flags of different countries and different competitors of all, you know, all kinds of types, it was just amazing to be there. And, you know, I'm not going to lie to you. I got emotional just, you know, the first day, my left arm, preparing myself, going to ready to go to battle, and just, you know, just the magnitude of this tournament. And, you know, I knew it was going to be a pretty big class, pretty solid class. There was no slouches in these classes. There was some big names per arm, you know, Will Brock left arm, Robbie Burnett right arm.
Mm-hmm.
So it definitely was a great experience, and just to compete with, you know, with those guys at that level was an amazing feeling. But like I said, coming close both arms, I mean, you know, I just know where I stand and where, you know, what I need to train to become the guy to, you know, come out on top.
Right. And, you know, you and I were there, and there was always going to be that group of people. I wouldn't say they're anti-IFA, but they're pro-WAF. And, you know, there's been people that come to me, hey, Jody, congratulations on your finish. You know, awesome job out there, you know. But, and we live in a world of but, oh, yeah, you did good. But, hey, you know, awesome showing. But, you know, it wasn't the real world championships. And I would sit there and tell everybody, you define what is a real world championships. Because, and I'm not going to rail no one's parade, but I do want to get your thoughts on this. So, WAF Worlds, right? They canceled it. It was supposed to be in Republic of Georgia in this month of September. When they canceled it, then they said, oh, by the way, hey, it's back on. But now it's back on Thanksgiving Day weekend. And by the way, it got moved to Romania. So I'm wondering, I don't know about you, but tell us, everybody, how you feeling about that? Do you think they'll get just as many people as IFA did?
Well, the unfortunate part about everything right now is COVID is screwing a lot of things up. No matter if it's WAF or, you know, IFA, COVID is just putting, you know, a damper in a lot of people's plans. I still think they will have a good turnout. But I do think COVID, you know, is hindering a lot. Every time anybody's ever asked me about this event, when I've talked to people, you know, friends, family members about this, I always say I'm going to go compete in the IFA World Championship. And that's how I label it. It's the IFA World Championship.
Exactly.
Every tournament or every league or every organization, they have to start somewhere, and you're going to go through growing pains. And I do honestly believe that going forward in the future, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, that this could blow up to be a huge tournament. But you have to start somewhere. And you know, I believe the IFA will get there.
Yeah, I think so. It will in due time, but you got to, and they always say that the saying goes, hindsight is 20/20. So, you know, I have to sit there and ask the question to you and everybody else. Yeah, I get, you know, when you went to Orlando, Florida, yeah, we have some countries there outside of North America, you know, but when you go to WAF, those same countries that couldn't leave their country to come here, there's going to be other countries that can't leave to go there either. So you got to put that in perspective. If you're going to have Romania, yeah, you're going to have a boatload of people in that area for seeing that will show up. But, are other countries going to be able to go there? That's the question, and we had I can't remember the entries, but we had a lot of them. Granted, there were, a big chunk of that was Americans, however, we still had Costa Rica was there, Taiwan, Brazil, Mexico, Canada, the list goes, I think Lithuania was one, the list goes, Bosnia, the list goes on and on. So, we did have some representatives, but no, it's not going to be the WAF worlds. I think people need to understand from an American standpoint, it's not going to be the WAF worlds like it was in 2010, okay, where, some of our heavy hitters, they kind of been there, done that. So, and I'll use that example. I want to get your thoughts on that. When you take a Ron Bath, he's been there, done that. Dave Chafee, he's been there, done that. Travis Bajan, he's been there, done that. So names like that, they've done that on the WAF World stage. They have nothing else to prove. So no, you're not going to get the heavy hitters you like to see at a world competition. What are your thoughts on that?
And the thing is, like I mentioned before, I've been pulling for 16 years, and I normally don't get into the politics of arm wrestling because I'm one of the guys that if there's an arm wrestling event and I can make it, I'm going to go. I don't care, what league, what organization's holding it. I just want to arm wrestle. I love doing it, and I would love to, be at an event where all those names that you just mentioned are pulling. Right. I mean, I don't know if all those names will ever be at one Worlds, especially if you think about the WAF. It's just two, per class, right, per arm. So, I mean, even if it was a nationals that had America could put, together, I would love to compete in something like that, especially with some of these legends. When I was, first got into the sport, and I don't know what IFA's direction is going to go as far as are they ever going to put a cap on, how many people they allow. But like I mentioned, they're going through some growing pains. But I do think in time, the more and more popular it gets, I would like to see it where maybe they cap off the top 5 that represent each country and, per arm. And you could still have a pretty significant amount of USA pullers there and including from any other, country.
Right. And let's be honest, because there's the seniors, the masters was more prevalent in the WAF tournament in the last few years than as the open guys, which is going to classify as seniors. And, I look at it like this, you kind of go, all right. And they're going to have a meeting real soon. The powers that be from the IFA are going to get together. They're going to agree upon, okay, hey, where are we going to hold the 2022 IFA Worlds? And, along with that, you got to go, okay, our IFA Nationals already set Irving, Texas in the last weekend of June. And they're going to figure out, are we doing the top 2 or are we going to do the top 4? So that's always, it's a hearsay. We got to just kind of wait and see what they say after they have that meeting. That'd be kind of good because, if you want a strong showing, from the U.S. anyway, I'm only speaking for us, then we got to have at least, a little bit more in there, I would think. But we're also, and you can also chime in on this too, we are at a point now, at least with arm wrestling in general, but especially USA pullers, that it's all about the super matches. A lot of people kind of shied away from the tournaments like, hey, I want this super match. Hey, I can go pull this guy for like $500, $300, $1,000, whatever the case may be. That's where the spotlight is right now these days, which is probably why tournaments are not as prevalent maybe for some of the big names. Agree or disagree?
No, I agree. It's kind of weird. I've been talking with my own teammates. Arm wrestling's kind of entering like a new era in a way, where everything is, social media, everything, YouTube channels, Facebook, Instagram. But it's bringing a lot of recognition to the sport that we've never really had in the past.
Right.
And everybody's always said, even, IFA, when we were sitting there waiting for the big classes to finish up, going into the top 3, I remember it being long just to get to that point. And, unfortunately, that's I hate to say it this way, but the boring aspect of it when you're sitting there waiting around when you try to think about showing it to viewers. And so super matches is the way where you get a lot of the intensity in such a short time and get, and see the results you want with big time matchups.
No, and I agree, and like I said, there's always some kind of story to tell, because I think maybe a lot of these arm wrestlers out here want to be prize fighters, so to speak. Like, hey, I'm gonna compete, but hey, once you reach that elite status, then it's like, hey, you know what? I'll pull somebody, but there's got to be some money involved. I mean, some people earn the right to act like that, others haven't really, but it is what it is. But you kind of go, all right, well, I would love to pull so and so, but then you got to go, okay, so what's at stake? Like, are we going to put money on it? Is your schedule clear? Do you not want to pull me for whatever reason? So that's there's also some bad things about that too, where the tournament, you just go get ready. All right, whoever shows up, shows up. And I've always told people, you got two responsibilities when you go to these tournaments. Doesn't matter at what level. It's the fact that you show up and you win. All the rest are details. That's it. That's just the bottom line,
Yep, I agree. And whether you're pulling a tournament or a round robin or a super match, your goal is to, be the winner and come out on top. And that's your job.
Nice. Here's a two-part question because it deals with the king of the states, right? First part, okay, king of Florida, right? You're the reigning king of Florida, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so how does that work over there with you guys? Like, okay, so this next year you have to put up your title? I mean, how does that actually work?
So I know Brandon Morris has been hosting the King of Florida now. I want to say we just had our third year in a row. But this is the first time he has introduced the belts to this tournament. And basically, I haven't really talked about it with Brandon Morris in too much detail, but I would imagine that, at certain events, especially ones that he's hosting in Florida, that you will, hold against your title against maybe somebody else in a super match. Or like at the end of this year, I think he just posted an event for December 4th.
Yes.
Florida States. I'm not sure if we have a plan in place to maybe do a super match for that belt, or if his way of thinking is just every year at King of Florida that title goes up. I'm sure we can do a couple different routes with that. But I would imagine just any Florida event against any Florida puller. If two pullers are able to defend their title and be there at that same tournament, then they would.
I agree. And I don't want to start anything or stir the pot, but reason why I say that, because there's a certain somebody there who's prevalent in Florida who claims that there is nobody in Florida to beat. Therefore, he claims as he is the king of Florida, and that'd be one Chance Shaw. And I would love to see you guys go out to see who the true king of Florida is. How do we make that happen?
That's a good question, man. I got first one to say I love that kid. I've seen this kid enter the sport at a very young age, and I knew he was going to do big things. And as a Florida puller, I have nothing but overwhelming support for him and what he's doing. I couldn't be more happier and proud of somebody. Over the years, in the beginning, I always had all the wins over him. He was a younger kid. I've been in the sport for a while. But now he has reached, different levels. And I know in 2019, we had our one and only super match. I won that 3-2.
Right.
The following year, which was last year at King of Florida, he ended up winning the class. I ended up placing third. I had him first match. He beat me fresh, and I never made it back to him to the final table third. And he was King of the Florida last year. This year, he was there, but he didn't pull. He had a lot of things going on at the time and a lot of things he was getting ready for and preparing for. So, honestly, I don't know when or where it will be, but I know we'll eventually come to that path where we're going to just have to battle out to see who the true King of Florida is. And if any Florida superweight, heavyweight cooler in Florida should, I would think when somebody says they're the King of Florida, everybody's goal below that person should be, I want to be the King of Florida.
Right.
So, they should use that as a drive to train and take over that top spot. Chance in the past year, since that win he got on me the last time we pulled, has done extraordinary things and has beat a lot of great pullers.
And that's just it. You guys are on a collision course, and I don't know. I could be wrong when I say this, but I look at you guys. You guys are on this collision course, and I'm gonna use a term from UFC where you got an interim champion. Where okay, hey, how many times did we see John Jones hold the belt, then got suspended? Then I would say as a champion, where here's Daniel Cormier. He earned his way. He's a champ, but John never lost the belt. So here you go. So it's almost like with you two, hey, this year's King of Florida. So you have all the right to say that. However, Chance, who won it the year before, didn't compete. So technically he never lost it if he didn't compete. So therefore, here we are. We got two, King of Floridas that has to, meet at some point. And yeah, both guys are awesome. You're awesome. You got the momentum going. Chance had the momentum going. I mean, I think he still does. I don't take anything away from that John Brzezinski match. That was just something I think he wanted. But at the same time, I know he's building stuff up. He's got other stuff on his plate as we speak. So he's not going to be able to compete. However, you got to know if the Florida States are in December and here we are in September, it's like, come on. At some point, you got to go, okay, I'm training for this. He's training for that. I'm not sure if Brandon Morse is even watching this show, but throw it out there and go, Brandon, make this happen because you got two guys. You got last year's King of Florida against this year's King of Florida. So somebody has to be crowned, So we don't need any more interim King of Florida. We need the actual champion because what's the point of having it if you got question marks? You know what I mean?
Oh, I absolutely agree. And I'll be honest with you, if I'm Brandon Morris, and this is just me thinking as a promoter, this would be the match I would headline at the next King of Florida.
Oh, yeah. Matter of fact, I might get at him after this show. He might go, who the hell are you? But I might get at him and go, bro, I just got the phone with Karl Stanley. I have an idea. Karl, talk to me about it. What do you think? So there you go.
I think I know Chance got some things coming up. I got some things coming up at the end of the year. I think next year, you have almost a whole year to just build that matchup.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe take a couple other super matches, and you can make next year's King of Florida the biggest King of Florida we've ever had. And that's what I would be working on for next year promoting.
And that's just it. And the thing is, to make it bigger, one has to kind of be careful about what they choose to participate in because you don't want to get that momentum kind of ruined. You know what I mean? So I totally get that. Now, I had Cal DePew on the show not too long ago, and we talked about the King of California. It just so happens yourself was watching the show, and you made a comment, and you said, hey, what about King of Florida versus King of California, a match like that? Tell everybody what was going through your thoughts about that comment up.
So, I was on that show, and I know any chance that everybody talks about and that will come, but I will say that Chance has done a lot recently to prove himself, winning the Fatal 4-Way and just the things that he's done, and realize that in order to make, the other side of that, me, bring even more hype to that match, I need to start going out there and I need to start pulling people. I have a lot of attention right now, and, Derek just came off the win against one of my old rivals, Tom Nelson.
Yeah.
And he did a damn good job. Proud of him. I hope that fire was woken up in Tom. I want to see Tom back into it. But my process or my way of thinking is my goal is to make it to the Expo on the 8th of January.
Yes.
That's what I would like to do. Me and my girlfriend Taylor are going to try to make a weekend thing out of it. We've never been to that side, never been to LA, so have like a little 2-3 day vacation on top of being there for that event. And when I said that comment, I was thinking possibly a match between me and Derek Smith. I think what people were thinking, though, was a team California versus a team Florida. And I've seen a big thread about that where all these different matches were talking about possible matches. And that, even though I do think that would be an awesome thing, what I meant was actually me versus Derek Smith right-handed, just because I know Derek, Chance, Corey West, these are, three guys that have been talked about a lot lately, and I just want to prove myself.
I even go a step further. Not only would you, and this is how my brain works, and I don't know if you agree or not, but not only would you have yourself versus Derek Smith, what about Chance Shaw versus Mega Mike? Just throwing it out there. See what sticks. What about Brandon Morris versus Jamie Sheldon? You see how my brain works? I'm just throwing shit off the top of my head. Can you imagine those kind of three matches and the build-up for that? To, Florida versus California. I mean, what if I sat there and brought it to you as a promoter? I said, hey, Karl, talk to your Florida guys. I got ideas. Brandon Morris, Jamie Sheldon, Chance Shaw, Mega Mike, and then to cap it all off, you versus Derek Smith. What would you say if I was a promoter and I threw that out there?
I would be like, hell yeah, and I even got some more matches. Wilton Brock versus Tony Tomlinson.
Yeah.
Left-handed.
See, there you go.
We got Noel Nunez, and we got a couple other big names. Andre, who just won IFA in his weight division, I believe, right-handed. So, I mean, we even got a guy that doesn't pull much. He only pulls once a year, but Jeremy Pappy, that guy right there is beating grown heavyweight men every year at the tournament and winning overalls. Any lightweight guy there. I mean, if we could make that happen, I think that would be one hell of a card, one hell of a tournament, and it would be a promoter's dream, to be honest with you.
I may need to go to Kyle DePew and go, bro. See, I mean,
get a little Kyle DePew and maybe even work with Paul Talia. I know he'll make some big things happen.
I sit there, and because when I do these shows, I'm talking to all these guys and girls, and I'm sitting here kind of going, man, as I'm talking to you guys, I'm also like, I got a lot of stuff going on, thinking, okay, how can we make this work? You know what I mean? I'm thinking, man, that'd be kind of cool. But I also don't want to be the one to step on toes. I don't want to, sit there and just, be, like, oh, Jody, don't mess everything up. But it just crosses my mind because I can actually see a match with you and Derek. I can see, Chance Shaw, Mega Mike. Now, whether those guys agree, that's a whole different thing. I'm just thinking off the top of my head, just thinking out loud when I say these things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And here's the beauty part about it is I've been listening to all these shows and talk shows and interviews, and I know right now Derek and Chance are both on this path of where they'll meet at the top, and that's fine. But that's not me. So. Right. I'll have my match with Chance in due time when that time comes. But I would definitely like to be that guy who goes over there and faces Derek and show what I got.
There you go. See, East versus West. I mean, come on. I mean, it's a no-brainer. It's a home run. But like I said, I'm not a promoter. I just got these ideas, and maybe not. That's just something for the powers that be to do. So we're gonna have to wait and see that. Now, as far as you, what do you have on your plate? If you can even, talk about that. What's on your agenda coming up?
So next thing I have is my Superman arm with Paul Passmore at the PAF finals on November 13th in Georgia.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, I think he's got like 4 titles. I got 2 of them, and over the years, we've gone back and forth. He has the recent wins on my left arm, and that right there is just going to be, one hell of a match. The guy's like a brother to me in the sport of arm wrestling, and we both get along great, and we have nothing but respect for each other, and I know we're both looking forward to this match.
Now, is that for a belt?
I believe so. I think it's basically his titles versus my titles.
Because he has like 12 of them or something like that. It's just...
Yeah, I think he's got 4 or 5 of them. I have 2 of them. And I think this is the match really to unify all the belts.
So explain to everybody out there exactly when you are a current PAF champion, what does that entail? Like, how often do you have to put the title up? let everybody out there know what exactly does that mean, because that's an anti-lateral thing. And I know I talked about this earlier in the year with some of the ladies, but for that, I think for the guys, it's the same thing. But just to kind of recap, everybody out there, PAF, if you're a current title holder, explain what does that mean.
So, hopefully I don't get this wrong, but I think at one time when Anthony first created these belts, he had different, regions of the states that he was going around and promoting events for, and having different belt holders in different regions. And like I said, at one point, Sean Latimer was one of the belt holders, and I beat him in a super match. I want to say the beginning of 20 for that belt. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Anthony's overall goal is to kind of like unify some of these belts where he's not having so many belts per weight class. And so, from what I understand, if you're able to you show up to one of his events, if you're a title holder, you defend your belt, and the challenger, I want to say, has to pay like $500 to challenge you for your belt. Winner gets the money. And now with me and Paul both being title holders, I don't think we each are not putting up money, so I don't know if there's any money involved. But I know at the end of the day, me and Paul are all about just the respect and pride of arm wrestling,
right?
And just put titles on the line. And it's in Georgia. It's about 5 or 6 hour trip for me, so it ain't that far of a drive. And so, like I said, I don't think we're putting any money up, but I think it is the PAF finals. So usually those tournaments have pretty good turnout, especially with all the surrounding states near this event.
Yeah, I was wondering how that worked out. I mean, with all the title belts and all these different organizations, I will be in Kansas City next month, October 23rd, Fallen Heroes event put on by Ryan Johnson. And they also have the top row belts out there in the Midwest over there. So you have a title match with Russ Schrader versus Bo Olsen. And so, again, it's one of those situations where it's like, how does one challenge for that? And, does the person have to put up the money or all that kind of stuff? Because every organization or federation or what have you have different rules and say about what's going on with the belts and stuff like that. So I was always kind of curious to see how that happened. So, yeah, so I got that. So the only thing I didn't understand at first, from a region standpoint, and Anthony Laterra was like, oh, yeah, the Northwest. I'm like, oh, cool, the Pacific Northwest, sweet. But then he had like Minnesota involved. I'm like, I think Jeff Dave at one point had a belt, if he still has it. And I'm like going, hold on, how the hell is Minnesota in the Northwest? I'm like going, okay.
I think that's one of the belts Paul Passmore actually owns.
Yeah, he probably has all of them. It feels like, except for the one that you got,
I'm pretty sure that me and Paul actually do have them all. I think it's, like I said, I think it's 6 belts total.
So how does that break down? I mean, region-wise?
That's the part I'm not sure about. I've never been to one of Anthony's events outside of Florida. So anytime that he's had an event here and I can make it, I've been, and I'm not even quite sure. He's actually got both my titles. I'm not even quite sure how mine are labeled, but I won the belt, my first belt over Daryl Oliver a few years back, and then my second one over Sean Latimer.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure who all Paul Passmore beat, other than I think Jeff Dade for his. But again, I don't know how the regions are labeled, and I thought at one time Anthony talked about reducing some of the belts and unifying some of them. So I don't know exactly what his plan is going forward. I just know, like you said, I want to show up and I'm gonna win. I'm gonna try to win.
Yeah, there you go. And that takes place, you said November, correct? No, the 13th?
Yep, 13th. Yep.
Cool. I mean, and all the PAF, for those out there who don't know, all the PAF championships always conclude in November in the state of Georgia. So if you want to compete, it's also a tournament too. So feel free to go up there. I used to be labeled the PAF Nationals, and then, a lot of people had to renamed everything because we had too many nationals going on and all that kind of stuff. So I get all that. So, honestly, powerhouse, good stuff out there. So let's talk about training. Are you a table time guy? Are you an in the gym kind of guy? Are you both? Are you weights? Are you bands? Tell everybody what's going on with Superman.
Well, I got a team. We're New Age. We're called New Age, and there's about 5 or 6 of us solid guys that about every week we try to get together and pull for a couple of hours at one of my teammates' house. So that I get my table time in once a week. And I'm gonna be honest with you, all the way up to about a few months ago, the only thing I would go to the gym 3 times a week, and the only thing that I would do in the gym is your normal stuff: bench, biceps, triceps, shoulders, a little bit of legs, some cardio, and I didn't really mess with the arm wrestle stuff too much. All the way to my injury.
Right.
Last year in 2020, I had that super match with Robbie Topi. Didn't realize time that I had a partial or tear on my left shoulder. Tried to compete with it again a month later at the King of Florida in 2020, and that's when I realized something wasn't right, and I went and got looked at and found out that I had a tear. Doctor was 50-50 on whether I needed surgery or not. He said if it could heal on its own through rehab and things like that he would prefer that rather than any kind of surgery. I chose that route. And I didn't compete until that was last August. I didn't compete until this May at that Georgia event, that round robin Georgia Arm Fighter. And that was the first time I pulled in 8-9 months. And leading up to that event is actually the first time that I have really started messing with Pro Nation, Super Nation, and buying all these different handles at my gym. I'm standing there at the gym now 3 times a week, messing with all these different handles, getting all these weird looks because people ain't never seen it before.
Right.
But the cool part about that is I've had a few people come up to me and say, "Hey, where did you get that handle from? I seen that Larry Wills had that on Instagram." And I was like, "That's cool. That's the recognition the sport's getting now because of social media,
right,
and things like that." But I've just now started really. And it's showing because I've now pulled in 4 events since my shoulder tear, and I've either gotten first or second on every arm that I've pulled. Other than one event, Mississippi State's, I did not do well right-handed.
Now,
so,
are you predominantly left-hand puller, correct?
I am actually right-handed, but I have just always been better left-handed.
Same here.
I will say. Lately, my right arm feels stronger than my left.
Oh, there you go. Now, tell us, going up to May this year, your first tournament back since you had to rehab everything, what was your frame of mind? Because I know I had shoulder surgery back in 2013, and it was to remove some bone spurs, a calcium deposit, and that kind of thing. And when you have a team and you got to practice, your teammates will take care of you. Whereas where you go to a tournament, they're trying to win. They'll do anything to win. They're not going to take it easy on you. They're not going to roll into it. When the ref says go, they're going to try to take your arm off. So in saying that and doing that, what was your game plan going, okay, I've rehabbed this thing. Is it going to hold up when I do go full board? What was your mind frame then?
So to be honest with you, the best girl in the world. She was like the biggest supporter in my life when this comes to the sport and everything I do. And I honestly was not going to pull left hand at that event. There was a round robin, right and left handed with 8 people at Georgia Arm Fighter.
Yeah.
And I was originally only going to do the round robin right handed and pull the tournament right handed. When I got there, I was able to convince her to let me pull the tournament part left handed. So I didn't get to compete in the round robin because I knew that was going to be, just too much first event back. You had Paul Passmore, Jonathan Burita. I mean, you just had some monsters in that round robin, and Jerome Loud. And I just wasn't ready for my first event back to pull that, kind of competition.
I remember that. Was that the one? I mean, yeah, those guys. I think Artem was in that one too.
Yeah, Artem signed up to be an 8th guy in that left hand. Yep.
Yeah, I remember that. That was I think it was like CJ Twine and, all those other guys were in there. Yeah, okay. I remember seeing that. I'm thinking, okay, here's my original thought. I thought going into that before everything came out, I'm thinking, oh, okay, Breeder's going to win left, Password's going to win right. And then Jerome Miles like, nah, that ain't what's going to happen. Pretty much. And, for a guy that doesn't do social media, he is a hard guy to get a hold of. You talk about a guy, and I'll say this, and this goes back to last week when I was pulling out, that Brazil, at the Worlds in the Masters class, right? And his hand and wrist is so solid. His side pressure is so dominant. I'm thinking, ain't nobody gonna beat this guy. So yeah, he ran through the Masters class unscathed, left and right. He pulled the right-handed class, and Jerome handled him like he didn't exist. It was like unreal, and I'm like, holy shit, this Jerome Loudon dude is the shit.
He at his weight is just on a complete different level. I ended up going. So there was 8 of us. Me and Jerome won all of our matches, and we were the 8th and final match. Both, undefeated, or 7th match, I should say, undefeated going in that round robin. And I didn't even really give him much. He just blew through everybody right-handed, and then I think he won left-handed as well. So Jerome's hand, it's the size and length is just crazy. And the crazy part is when I pull him, he doesn't even battle you in the setup. He just got that strong hand, that strong wrist, that pronating top roll just right through you. Great side pressure, and he's just on another level.
I've never seen a guy, and when I say this, I don't want people to take this out of context. This is not disrespectful to Jerome, but when I see that guy pull, he seems like he's like disinterested, because I've never seen a guy just mow through people and not change his facial expression. That guy acts like, or he looks like that he's just bored. I'm watching him at WAL. There was one brief moment at the I think he might have been pulling either Paul Passmore or Jonathan Breida in that 8-man round robin, and he had him to the pad, and he mumbled something. You can see his facial remark change, but it just seems like he just does not. He seems like he's disinterested. But that's how it just comes easy for him, and it makes everybody like you and me and everybody else super jealous, because it's like going, what the hell? I mean, here we are busting our asses to get where he is. He just naturally, he's like Kenny Hughes, just naturally gifted. Have to try a whole lot. And yeah, here we are with the handles, and next to my time in the gym and table time, and he just walks in here, he'll smile, walk away, and that's it. It's like going, damn, that's almost super jealous to me.
Yeah, and the unfortunate part, and like I mentioned earlier, with I feel like arm wrestling's entering a new era. He, from what I understand, he's not big into on social media,
right? And
doesn't get the recognition he deserves. Kind of like a Robbie Burnett. You don't ever see Robbie Burnett much on social media, but that guy is a beast, and anybody who really knows Robbie Burnett knows how great of a puller he is.
Right. Once again, everybody, we got Karl Stanley, Mr. Superman, reigning king of Florida, on the show right now. Don't forget to hit the like button. So tell me, Karl, who is in your sights? I mean, yeah, we talked about the Chan Shaw thing. We can, put that in the rear view for now. We can save that for another day down the road. But who is in your sights aside from Paul Passmore coming up at the PAF championships? Who else would you like to pull besides Derek Smith? Is there anybody else out there you would like to see?
Well, as far as like a dream match, like I mentioned before, I've been pulling since 2005. So,
yeah.
I mean, I've been pulling with a lot of these guys, and I kind of feel like I have an old school mentality, but I'm still just 33 years old. But I'm not going to lie to you, just like any other puller, I see John Brzezink's back, and don't know how much longer he's going to be pulling. And I've never pulled him. I met him only one time in my life. I would love to, have that moment where I have a super match with John Brzezink. I know I'm definitely heavier than he is right now, but I mean, before my arm wrestling career over, I would love to have that opportunity just to pull against a legend. I understand he's not who he used to be, but right. I mean, I mean, who wouldn't want to play one-on-one with Michael Jordan? You know?
Oh,
so
exactly. You know, because it seems like he's taking matches everywhere now. He has Dimitri coming up October 2nd, next Saturday. Then he has in October 23rd is a huge weekend in arm wrestling. He has Paul Lynn, because you got that in Virginia. You got the Fallen Heroes in Kansas City. You got a big tournament out west in Reno, Nevada. So it's like that October 23rd is going to be like off the fucking hook and in 3 different time zones. So, I mean, that alone is going to be like, holy shit, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, Brazil, I mean, are we talking left hand, right hand? I think he only competes right hand these days anyway, right?
Yeah, I definitely would just, I don't know how he is left-handed, but I'm going to go ahead and just be confident and say that I could probably beat him left-handed. But just because he don't pull much left-handed. But right-handed, I would love that as far as a dream match. And that's just a dream pull. As far as people in my sights, ranked in my division, I want to go after all the guys that are getting all the recognition and deserving so. I'd like to pull Corey West.
Yeah,
I mean, that guy's a monster. He's done big things. He's come back from a major injury, and just to see what he's doing is unbelievable. And in time, I would love to have that match. Either arm, both arms, either arm, don't care. But anybody really ranked above me, I just want an opportunity to pull them just to, get my name back up to the top of those.
And I know, since you said you brought up Corey West, he was on the show last week, and I know for a fact when you brought his name up, I know you have valid interest October 16th when he goes toe-to-toe with one Todd Zilla.
Yes.
Who are you pulling for, by the way?
Man, I mean, again, I've said this over and over. I've been pulling for a long time. The very first Florida States I ever went to, Todd Hutchins was there. I think he was Team South Carolina with Chad Silvers and Ray Hendricks, and I just remember being kind of starstruck when new into the sport and seeing him. And so I've been pulling around or been around Todd Hutchins for a long time now, and I want the best man to win, and I want him to stay healthy.
Right.
I mean, I'm not going to be mad or upset one way or the other. I just hope it's the match that we all hope for. I hope no one gets injured, and I really hope we can see these two, battle out in both their strengths and see who's the stronger man.
It almost seems like, and I could be wrong, but it almost seems like when we talked about earlier, certain people reach a certain level, and with the John Brzink, with the Todd Hutchins, they've been there, done that. John has I believe he has a WAF title in Golden Bears and stuff, and Todd has all those accolades also. Not so much a WAF title, I believe, but my thing is like when you get to that point, it's almost like, hey, I'm doing this, nationwide tour. Like, hey, you know what? I'm not in my prime, but fuck it. I'm just gonna go ahead and I'll pull anybody just because I like it. And they are so good at what they do that, let's just say you and John did, hook up sometime in March of next year. Just bear with me for a second. Let's just say Karl Stanley, John Brzink in March. You can beat John Brzink, and it would do nothing but skyrocket you, right? But because he is who he is, he could take a loss and it wouldn't tarnish not a damn thing, because he's done so much in the sport. And he's at that. People like Michael Todd. Todd kind of gets a bad rap at times. I understand that. I don't know why, but he's the most decorated arm wrestler that I know, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But you get Devin can lose, ain't gonna tarnish a damn thing, right? Same thing with Brzink, Todzilla. These guys, Ron Bath, if these guys lose for some odd reason, it doesn't tarnish anything because they've done so much that it's not gonna make or break them. Where somebody like you, a common puller, just wants to sit there and just compete and win, it does wonders for you. So like it was a win-win for Chance, when he pulled John Brzink in West Virginia, because if he wins, his stock goes through the roof. But if he loses, okay, it's John Brzezinski. I mean, this is a sport where ain't nobody gonna go undefeated. Everyone's gonna take an L at some point. That's just the way it is. That's how this sport is. So, yeah, chance you lost. You lost 3-1, but fuck, dude, don't shake it off. But I understand he has some other stuff going on right now that he needs to attend to, rightfully so. But, do you agree about that? That, once you become a certain level that you could take a loss, it's not a real big deal.
Yeah, I mean, these guys have done things that I could only dream of, and been and attended events that I can only hope that I can be at one day. And honestly, it's just an honor to even be on the table with some of these legends that are still pulling. Don't lie, my favorite arm wrestler coming to the sport was Ron Bath, right. And he still is. I just hope that when I'm 55, coming up to 60 years old, that I am still half the person that Ron Bath is. I mean, what that guy can do and at a high level and still can go to any event he pulls in and win is just amazing. And he was at the very first tournament that I ever attended in my life, which was in Destin in 2005. And just to see, how many tournaments over the years that that he's won after that, and even prior to that. I mean, that's they earned that legend status, and so no, taking a loss should not and will not tarnish anything from what they've done in the past.
Right, and so getting back to Michael Todd, good friend of mine, Rebecca Todd, his wife, good friend of mine. I know them, and they're real good friends of mine. And some people kind of gave him a little shit. Todd, I mean, again, he's up at that upper echelon, and yet because everybody kind of, not everybody, but some people kind of gave him slack. And I understood why he did it. And this is why I say Michael Todd's probably one of the most decorated, because there's different categories. I'm not saying he's the GOAT. I'm just saying he's the most decorative. And what I mean by that, because we all can agree, John Brzezinski is the GOAT, period, in the discussion. I don't care who you bring up, he's the GOAT. Now, when I say the most decorative, it's because I say this. Any organization that was out there, Michael Todd has won it. PAL, he's won it. NAL, won it. UAL, won it. Right? WAL, won it. I think he won a PAF too at one point, once upon a time, a few years back. He's won that. Right? So any organization out there, he's won it. Except for the one thing, he's never won a world championship, right?
Right.
I don't think he's won a Zloty either. But again, there's some things he hasn't marked off on his checklist. He's never won a WAF. And here comes the IFA. He has the opportunity to win, just to say, hey, I want to be able to add that to my collection. Doesn't matter. Open Masters doesn't matter. I mean, he gets more, flack by a handful of people because, dude, why you pulling Masters? But it's like, okay, can you imagine how many people would have been pissed off if he decided to pull Open? Because, I mean, he's at a point now in his career, like I said, you're up at the upper echelon, doesn't do any good. It's like, all right, cool. I mean, I want to go ahead and win this to say, hey, I'm the most decorative person out there. I think the only thing he needs to win now to be good is I would imagine Zloty Nemiroff. That'd be the one thing remaining from his checklist that he needs to complete. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, for one, I don't think he can win anything else because he's running out of room to add to his ring.
Yeah. He's got belts, rings, swords, hammers, all kind of stuff. So
you're definitely going to have those people that would have been upset if he would have pulled Opens at IFA Worlds because of who he is and what he's done and earned the status that he has. But I definitely wouldn't have been one of those people. I would have been. I would have loved it.
Right.
I mean, why wouldn't anybody not be excited about the chance of facing Michael Todd, at an IFA World Championship and possibly even maybe getting a victory, whether it's right or left arm, over him. I mean, I pulled one other time, and that was at a WAL I want to say a WAL like qualifier or regional back in Chicago, and a few years back. He was definitely lighter then, but we had a war. I ended up losing on fouls, but I mean, just even being that match and making it a war and having him an inch away from the pin pad brought me so much recognition because of just being in that match with him. So I mean, he's earned that right to pick and choose what he wants to do, and I personally don't blame him for I seen the YouTube video where he says, if you're over 40, it's free to play, but if I have the chance to make the money at the sport that we love doing, then I'm going to stick to that. I mean, he's earned that, and I don't blame him for that. So, but I'm not going to lie to you, I would have loved the fact that Michael Tyler would have been in that open class. I mean, that would have just.
And he knew he would have had a target on his back, because when he was doing this, and Rebecca was doing this cross-country trip, he was like, hey, I'll pull here, I'll pull there. And everybody was just teeing off on him. He was getting that defensive strength back. I think that was something he needed after, the King of the Table match with Devin, and things didn't work out. He's like, okay, I got to get back to where I need to be. And truth be told, I mean, it's not a secret, deep down, he's like going, okay, do I have what it takes to even give Levon a shot, because my style is not like Dave's, where he has this unique style. He has this irritating style. And now Levon, to this day, ever since Levon did the PAL thing, top 8, he hasn't lost a match. It's been 6-0 all across the board. So top 8, he had 3 rounds? So, 6-0, 6-0, 6-0. Thanks for coming. Dave Chafee. I love Dave. I thought he would have been the guy to do it. 6-0 Dave. So that guy he's 24-0. And if you count at home, guys, Levon is 24-0. Okay?
I'll tell you the matches that needs to happen for him.
Yeah, go ahead.
It needs to be Jerry Cataract.
You need somebody with a funky style, because
Jerry Cataract.
Yeah, just straight up, it's not gonna do anything. I mean, I think now that John Brzezinski got his own YouTube channel going, again, legendary status. John can sit there and film himself loading up a cargo on a plane, and he'll get like 1,000 views. Devin Larratt can sit there and have his wife Jody film him mowing the lawn. Motherfucker has 3.5 thousand viewers, because and he even said that maybe if Dave wasn't just so straight into it, maybe he would have, if he would have gripped him a little lower, maybe change things up a little bit. But I don't think Levon would he didn't even give that opportunity for Dave to even try that. Like a lot of people were saying after the match, oh, we want to see Dave go inside. Well, I don't think Levon gave him an opportunity so he could go inside. It's just he was that much more dominant. So it's going to take somebody with some kind of weird, awkward style to challenge that, because, I mean, what can I say? I mean, it's going to have to happen. Michael thinks his mind, okay, I can probably do something with him. You're saying Jerry Cataract. I would have loved to see a certain somebody who's not here anymore, unfortunately. I would love to see how Andre Pushkar would handle that.
Yep.
I would love to see him. How'd that
practice,
go?
And that was the strongest arm, right and left, that I had ever felt. And his hand width, it wasn't even that his hand was just so thick and long. The width of his hand, ridiculous.
Wow.
Ridiculous.
And always, the reason why I picked Dave for that match is because, everyone's saying, oh, Levon's hand and wrist. I'm like, okay. And then he's gotten wins on Saplenkov, talking about Dave. So I'm thinking, okay, Dave's not going to be intimidated by any kind of fucking hand and wrist that Levon has. But, it just seemed like, all right, Dave, all right, match 1, we'll shake it off. You'll be all right, set up differently. And it seemed like Dave, I mean, just his body language seemed like, I can't fucking do anything right now. It's almost like when Todd pulled Devin Larratt, King of the Table. You mean Todd went, once he went in for his, okay, well, fuck it. He's got me here. I'm going for my press. And Devin stopped it. Michael's like, fuck. I mean, what else can I do? So there's something to be said for that. Again, it's going to take a funky style, whether it be a King's move, a flop wrist press, or something. It's going to take to make him think, because And even Travis made some kind of crack not too long ago on Paul Talia's, like, hey, I want to be, Travis thinks a little weird, but some of his weirdness actually makes sense. I don't know if anybody, but the way he explained it was like, it was a video that LeVon like gripped something and hooked it or whatever, and he didn't have his whole hand around it, and he kind of made him look vulnerable for a split second. And Travis was like, I want to be that guy to make him vulnerable in that spot. So again, if you want to put fine, I guess you can too. But there's always, all I gotta say is LeVon is 24-0. That's all I'm trying to say. Even who was that guy's it? Sabin, has actual a victory on him. He actually pinned him, and he was on the Uncle John show, and last week or something like that. So he had some, thoughts that, hey, you ain't got to sit there and fucking curl the world. You ain't got to sit there and pronate the world. It's just I did it. I didn't have to sit there and do strict curls of fucking 800 pounds or whatever the fuck people do nowadays. So there's some question marks out there that need to be answered. That's just what I'm trying to say.
I think the arm wrestling world definitely should and deserves to see Devin versus LeVon. Everybody wants that match, right?
Yeah.
But any couple of matches leading up to that match, my pick's always been a well-prepared and trained Jerry Cataract. I just would I'm a presser, right? So I got a little special spot for, somebody who can press. And I would love Jerry's press is just ridiculous. And I would just love, even if he lost 6-0, then so be it, lost 6-0, but I would just love to see Jerry get that chance to see what he could do with, his sweet spot, and just to see, how LeVon would, react to that. But obviously, too, a Travis Bagent who took it serious and was trained for that as well would be very interesting to see. I think the world would love to see that too. But outside of those three guys, I'm sure that the other one is Vitaly. So,
yeah. Because going into that King of Table match between Michael and Devin, you had this feeling that, okay, whoever wins this gets first crack at LeVon, where it was like, no, because JP was already on deck. And then you kind of go, okay, now that Devin won, decided, okay, I've done what I need to do. I'm going to go box and get crushed by fucking Thor. Then, you got Michael doing his thing. Dave lost. So now, Igor's like, hey, this is my guy who's wrapped in bubble wrap. No one's going to touch him, 24-0. And then you got to go, okay, if I'm Jerry Cataract, let's be honest. Ain't no wall going to happen, because normally September would have been the WAL finale anyway in recent years. So if I'm Jerry Cataract, hey, Kaplan, can I go ahead and bring some prestige to fucking WAL? Because, let's be honest, his contract is up anyway, so he's not even a part of WAL anymore. That's why he's doing what the fuck he wants to do now. And, I would love to see Jerry do you right. I'd love to see Jerry do that. Say, look, I bring this funky style, and I can bring it back to where, I will put WAL if I have to. Or Travis, and with Travis, it all depends on how much money's thrown out here for him to even partake in that. But, yeah, there are some people out there. As far as Devin goes, Devin can do what the fuck he wants. I don't know what frame of mind he's in right now, given the fact that he had this build up, with this boxing match, which I thought, my personal opinion, probably a waste of time. But, if it's for his channel, it's for Thor's channel. If it brings arm wrestling, opens some more doors, I guess, with the cross, sporting thing, fine, I guess, But Devin's probably at a point where, like, you know what? I got nothing to prove, So you get to a certain point in this sport where you've done it all. Let's be honest. Devin doesn't have a WAF title, but he's done everything else, though, So he could probably sit back and go, hey, I've done what I need to do. My whole thing was to get back at Michael. I've done that. The last time me and Jerry pulled, he won. Last time him and Michael pulled, he won. And in Devin's eyes, those are the guys that he needs to beat. Period. I'm out. I'm done. He can do what the fuck he wants. Michael Todd's in the same boat. Hey, I'm doing cross-country trips with my wife. I don't have nothing to prove anymore. So now it's like, who is that torch being passed to now? Oh, like Karl said, hey, it's Jerry Caderet. Thoughts on that? Agree or disagree?
Oh, I agree. And I mean, as far as Michael Todd goes, I mean, as an arm wrestler, man, that guy's living the dream right now of being able to just travel and see the country with his wife and meet all these different pullers and just bring all this recognition to our sport. And I do believe though that Michael Todd is a true champion, and I do think that he's having a little bit of a reset, and like you said, just going around, building some of that power back. And I do believe that Michael Todd will be back in the conversation at some point. But in the meantime, yeah, I mean, if we don't see, if the 300-pound Pancake Devin isn't ready to do that match here soon, I would definitely love to see a Jerry Caderet as my first choice, or like you mentioned, a Travis Bajan who's actually taking it serious to be that guy. How amazing would it be, 6 months, a year from now, John Brzenk comes back and just smashes Levon and just ultimately proves his legacy. How great would that be?
If John and you got to go, we all would love to see that. Although John's like, all right, I can't be fucked. I have to weigh at least 230, 240 if I'm going to do something like that. And he has the hand strength and he has the hand size to match that. My thing would be, does he have his shoulders are, not great. He's even said that. That would be my fear if his shoulders would hold up. I hope it would be, because the ultimate, Karl, and everybody watching right now, I'm going to say this. If John goes, you know what, having fun, pulling Chance, pulling, Dimitri, pulling, Paul in, and, he's kind of sitting back. Don't think for a second it hasn't crossed his mind that, you know what, fuck it. I'm gonna be 240 pounds. I'm going to get in the best shape of my life. I'm going to crack that guy, and I'm going to walk away. That will be the biggest FU of all time. I'm going to crack Levon, and that's it. I'm going to walk away, enjoy my grandkids, and just say, it's been nice, but guess what? I done it all. Deuces. That's it. Game over. That's a wrap. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, and then honestly, I think with all these matches that he's taking, if his shoulder, holds up and he, feels the confidence within himself, and that pull just 6 more matches against Levon, and take the time, get up to 240, 250 John Brzenk, add a couple more beers each night, work out, and just go there and shock the world, and USA baby all the way, and sail off into the sunset. Enjoy your life.
Karl, I'm gonna say something here, and I don't know if you caught on, and I could be wrong, but and everybody out there, feel free to comment when I say this. Did everyone see the? I'm not a mathematician by any stretch of the imagination, but there's reasons why people are doing what they're doing. Did it ever occur to you that, okay, Michael lost to Devin, now he's doing these cross-country tours, he's trying to get back in shape. There's a reason for that. John Brzenk, no, I'm not pulling no more. Now he's taking on these super matches here. There's a reason for that. Did anybody catch on to that? Is anybody seeing what I'm seeing, or is it just me being weird?
You saying John made Devin go get a boxing ring and stay off the arm wrestling table?
All I'm saying is that there's reasons why these guys are doing this.
Yep.
Now, maybe their ultimate goal may be a little, might be the same. All I'm saying is that there's a reason why Michael Todd's doing this. There's a reason why John Brzenk is doing this. If Travis is serious, even remotely serious about pulling Cody Merritt next spring, there's a reason. I'm telling you, there's a reason why these guys are doing this. They see that, because look, at some point in their careers, I'll take the 3 guys from the U.S. Once upon a time, John Brzenk, oh, he's the best guy in the world. Cool. He earned that. Travis Basic, once upon a time, the best guy in the world. Michael Todd, once upon a time, the best guy in the world. I think once you've reached that top of the mountain, and I guess you could throw Devin in there too, but Devin's kind of, he goes to the beat of his own drum. So I'm not going to really put him in this conversation right now. But those three guys I just mentioned, Bajan, Brzezinski, Todd, Michael Todd, when you've been anointed that you're the best, and then you kind of sit back and go, who the fuck is this guy from Georgia? You know, like he's the man. I'm thinking back in my prime, I would have cracked that guy. I think as a competitor, you look and go, you know what? I want to see what he's all about. I want to see for myself what he's all about. I think, you know, and like I said, I could be way off base when I say that, but I think when you got those three guys kind of looking back going, okay, what's so special about this guy? You know, because when it comes to Saplinkov or a push car, those guys I just pulled them before. Okay. When you talk about push car, we talk about Trubin, those guys I mentioned, you know, when you come to LeVon, John's never pulled LeVon before. Michael Todd's never pulled him before. Travis Bates never pulled him before. So it begs the question, I'm thinking, you know what? What's all the hubbub about? Let me find out. Let me get in the best shape of my life, and I'll do it my own separate way and find out for myself, number one, do I still have what it takes to be the man? I don't know. It could be my imagination getting the best of me because it's been known to happen from time to time. What do you think about that, Karl?
I mean, and are we talking about as far as like, you know, John goes of making that call to eventually pull LeVon?
Yeah. As crazy as that may sound, I think he's doing it for a reason.
I think I heard he was, 58? John just turned 57 or 58?
Something like that.
I mean, if it ain't going to be next year, if he's 58 now, you know, what better, you know, way than a 60th birthday?
Yeah.
You know, and make sure that you're healthy. Make sure that these matches that you're taking are along the way. Hopefully I'm one of them. You know, make sure your shoulder can hold up. And then, you know, just go out with the biggest shebang there is and prove to the world that this guy is beatable. I mean, he already is the GOAT, but this right here is like, you know, Tom Brady winning his 10th Super Bowl and playing at 50 years old. You know, like it's just, you know, I don't see any other better ending to the perfect storm.
Yeah.
Career.
I mean, honestly, and like I said, I could be way off base, and you guys, whoever's watching, feel free to just, you know, blast me while I say that. But it just, I mean, there's reasons why they're doing that. It just took me a while to figure it out. Like, you know what? They don't do it just because, like I said, man, John ain't got nothing to prove. You know, he said, nah, my shoulder's banged up. He was going to do the top 8, 95 kilo, kept jerking that thing around. He said, fuck it. I'm not going to cut weight for that shit. Well, guess what? In shape John Brzezinski, he doesn't have to cut weight. Not for LeVon, he don't. Fuck it. I'm going to have 2 more beers to add to my repertoire and get stronger, see if my shoulder holds up and go from there. What the hell, you know?
Kind of like the Rocky Balboa movie where Rocky came back all those years later and went up against the current champion and gave him everything he had.
Yeah.
Even at his age, you know. I mean, what true, especially, you know, USA arm wrestler would not love to see that.
Oh,
not only just a fan of arm wrestling, but just for, you know, our sport and our country and just seeing, you know, the true David versus Goliath.
Yeah. It is Rocky IV all over again. You know, it is Drago versus Balboa. That and how awesome would that be? Storybook. Like, can you imagine the build up for that?
Can you imagine the views that YouTube would get? Video?
Oh, fuck me.
And the money that would pull in?
Dude, John's going to be on every fucking talk show. And, you know, LeVon's going to be like, what the hell's going on? Because Igor's going to do everything he can possible to keep him ship shape, which means if that means LeVon has to pull once every 4 months or 4 years or whatever the fuck, you know, then so be it. You know, he's going to keep his guy in sharp, and, you know, and like I said, he doesn't have to prove anything at this point because every time he's went out there, he's blasted everybody 6-0. So I guess there is something to say about rest. But John Brzezinski's got the longest rest of all time. I fucking retired and came back so many times that I'm only doing this to see how good my shoulder holds up. And if I can't do it,
the flame never dies out in any arm wrestler. I don't care how old you are.
Exactly.
The flame never dies out. You might need to take some time off, reset some things, heal from some injuries, but the flame and the love for the sport never dies.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine a conversation if those guys were in a room together? You know, Travis, I'll blast that guy, blah, 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 blah. Michael Todd's like, I got this weird, you know. Trust me, I'm the monster. Jerry's like, well, fuck it. I mean, I'm just as big as the next person. I'll get it. And John's like, guys, let me know if you need me to back cleanup. I will fucking crack that guy. Just let me know. And just to be a fly on the wall if that conversation ever were to occur with those guys in the same room, oh my God. Can you imagine that?
Yep.
Holy
and
shit.
5 years from now, if that never happens, 5 years from now, if Levon's still on top, guys like myself, Chance Shaw, Corey West, Derek Smith, we'll take that crack at it. We'll bring down the guy.
There'll be some torch passing pretty soon, you know. There will be some torch passing pretty soon. So, you know, but then again, I mean, right now it's just he's the flavor, he's the guy. Everyone's chasing, you know. So, but don't be like Trubin and bulk up to a fucking, I don't know what the hell he did. He was better off when he was 225, 230, and he just thought, I got to be 275, and he just got sloppy. So I don't know what the hell's going on with him, but either or, it is what it is. So, but anyway, my friend, we've been on here for over an hour. I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to join me on the show.
It was an honor, man. It was an honor. This is my very first interview ever. So,
really? I didn't know that.
Yep. My very first interview. I hope to have many more in the future. And I really appreciate giving me the time to be a part of your awesome show.
Oh, I'm sure.
And it was great meeting you. I hope you had a good time in Florida.
I did. I mean, I'm from the high desert, so the heat is dry. I went down there. It was like I walked off the plane and I seriously just started sweating. Like, the hell's going on over here? Like, dude, seriously, I think I lost 5 pounds of sweat just hanging out at Magic Kingdom and stuff, you know, doing a lot of walking. But the family and I had a great time. There were steakhouses everywhere down there. So we enjoyed our time and stuff. It's pretty cool to hang out and, you know, rub elbows with some of the guys and stuff, you know, and, you know, come together for one common goal is to get that world title, you know, especially when it's in our backyard. I was, you know, very fortunate to stand on the podium, have that American flag draped around my body because not a lot of people get that opportunity or that feeling. So I will always hold that dear to my heart. So again,
that moment me than anything in that whole tournament.
Yes, I had a good time. Well, again, keep your eyes open. Once the powers that be from the IFA have their meeting, they will let everybody know where the next one. Rumor has it, it might be Ukraine, it might be wherever. I don't know. But I just want to say, Karl, thanks a lot. I think at some point maybe Artem might get you on his show. The closer we get to the PAF, because you and Paul Passport have a date on the table. Y'all got some belts to unify, so good luck with that, my friend.
I appreciate it, Joey.
Take care, my friend. We'll keep in touch.
All right, Joey.
Take care. We'll talk soon. Later. Karl Stanley, Superman, King of Florida, if you will. Okay, so I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna hop on here. I'm gonna make some calls and go, look, I got some ideas. Let's make that shit happen, right? Everybody, I don't know where everybody went, but the comment section kind of died out. But I will say this: thank you, Justin Green, Kimberly, you know, everybody, Paul Stevens, Dustin. Hey, thanks for joining me on the show. It's Thrilling Thursday, okay? So, hey, as always, thanks for tuning in. I see you when I see you. Y'all take care. Be good to one another.